Time for another edition of Wellness Wednesday with Dr. Bradley Meyer of the Okoboji Wellness Clinic. Good morning, Dr. Meyer.
Hey, good morning, Dave. Good morning. Good early morning to everybody. I think everybody was probably up pretty late last night. So happy to be with you, and I got a special guest today.
You do. You have Molly Avery with you today, part of your amazing team at Okoboji Wellness Clinic.
Yes, absolutely. She has been on with us before, but I was thinking, it's time to just share the team and kind of give some updates on the directions that we're heading with things. And Molly has just been such a pivotal piece, important piece of where we're heading with the Okoboji Wellness Clinic. And again, she's a functional nutritionist is the official title, but she is so much more. She's been walking her own wellness walk, which makes her even that much more amazing because she's had her own health journey that she's been able to apply to her story. So she's kind of this integrative wellness guru that folks, they come in to see us at the clinic here. We work collaboratively. So almost everybody that comes into the clinic for a stay for a week or two or for a few hours, I'm talking to them about Molly and how she's going to be part of the progress forward. So without further ado, I got Molly right here.
All right, Molly, thanks so much for being with us. We appreciate that very, very much. First, if you wouldn't mind, in a nutshell, tell us a little bit about your story.
Oh, gosh. My story, I would say as a child, I had a lot of rashes and allergies and was on allergy medication, things like that. And then that kind of evolved as a young adult, still having a lot of, I started to develop food sensitivities, still had a lot of allergies. My energy would wax and wane, and I always thought, gosh, I just have a weak constitution. I'm just weaker than other people. So when I would awaken in the morning, I never knew how I would feel, if I would feel like I could make it through the day or if I didn't feel quite right. So just trying to figure that out, and then that kept evolving, and later I was diagnosed with having Lyme disease and Hashimoto's, which is your thyroid being kind of attacked. And yeah, I had a lot of things I had to contend with.
Yeah, you sure did. So how did nutrition play a role in helping you get better?
Learning about how what we eat really does matter, and learning about how everything we eat is really a message to our body, to our cells, to our DNA, to our genes, and not realizing that previously.
Mm-hmm.
I was just eating to, what tasted good, right, and what all my friends are eating and thinking that's fine, but just not having an understanding of real food is what our bodies need to thrive.
Okay, so I want to talk about real food. I want to talk about some slogans, too. We're going to hear a lot about this now over, I'm guessing, the next several years as the election transpired. And part of that election team was Robert Kennedy Jr., who joined that team with a theme of Make America Healthy Again. Steve Jobs said, and I don't know if Steve invented this, you can eat your food as medicine, or you can eat your medicine as food. That's kind of the country we're in right now, and Robert Kennedy Jr. would like to eliminate that chronic illness.
Yeah, I love that.
So let's talk a little bit, if we can, about how first of all, when somebody comes to see you, they're really struggling, they're lethargic, they're fatigued, they have no energy, maybe they're depressed, whatever the case might be, they're not feeling well. What do you do in an initial consultation with people?
I think, we hear their history, what the complaints are, and then my role is more looking at asking them, what are they eating? What does their diet look like? And what we're really trying to ascertain in that consult is, what is their body needing? And then what is their body needing help getting rid of? What toxins? And that's really kind of it in a nutshell, is removing, say, poisons or toxins coming into the body, and then supporting the body to be able to remove the toxins that it has. And when you can kind of figure out that formula correctly, then the body does its magic on its own. You kind of step back and let the body do its work.
One thing we have learned over the past several years is how much our diet causes inflammation. And one thing I think we've learned a whole lot about over the last couple of years is how much any type of inflammation leads us to not feeling well or disease. And so I would imagine nutrition can play a big role in calming our inflammation.
Absolutely. Yes. Yep. And that's that kind of adding fuel to the fire, so to speak. So our choices really do matter. And when we're eating a lot of, say, the SAD diet, the standard American diet, we've all kind of heard of that before, which is a lot of the processed food, the fast foods. Although it's convenient, and, sometimes we're like, we don't have the energy to cook, or we don't have the energy to do that. I'm just going to pick up this, packaged frozen dinner or what have you. That may give you some calories, and maybe a degree of minerals, but it doesn't really give you that healthy tools or the live enzymes in food, or the things that will calm that inflammation that we find in fresh fruit and vegetables and clean meat products that aren't full of steroids and have been injected with antibiotics and things like that.
So if you would, Dr. Meyer's really good about sharing success stories with us. Would you be kind enough to, you don't have to name anybody, of course, but name maybe a success story or two that somebody's come in and you have got together with Dr. Meyer, maybe change something up with somebody's nutrition, and all of a sudden, man, they got a new life on their hands.
Sure. One off the bat that I'm thinking of was actually earlier on, and she was a middle-aged woman, was very fatigued, a lot of aches and pains, and she had a small restaurant, and she was the cook. Mm-hmm. And so she just was like, this is my livelihood, but I don't know how I can manage. I'm just so fatigued. I don't know how I'm just pushing through with caffeine every day. And when we started teasing out her diet, she was at the diner that she owned. She was cooking with a lot of inflammatory oils, for instance, like soybean oil, and using cheaper oils in her restaurant, along with using a lot of products that weren't, that were processed, that were packaged. So she was eating what I would kind of call like this dead food, or hydrogenated fats, trans fats. And so we just talked about how she could essentially not eat her own food that she was serving. And when she realized that, she didn't know. And so she thought these things were healthy, and then when we kind of educated her on, okay, let's do this. Let's eat, what can you have that's a healthy fat, for instance? And so she started adding avocados into her diet. She started getting away. She stopped using the soybean oil. She switched to olive oil, for instance. And she just made these little tweaks, and she was so excited because just adding this real food, and I think she started eating like some carrots with hummus, for instance, for a snack, instead of like a processed granola bar. And her inflammation went down, so her aches and pains went down, but she also lost up to, last I spoke with her, it was like 30 pounds. Wow. And yeah, her energy came back, and she just reclaimed her life. She was just, it was really, so it's such a joy to see that.
That's awesome. That's got to make you feel really good when somebody heads down the right road and feels so much better. All right, now somebody told me one of you two was going to tease about the 6 M's. What's that all about? Who's going to handle that?
Well, I tell you what, when we're trying to walk with folks on getting them back into balance, sometimes it's easier to break it down into different categories. And one of them we had already touched upon over the last several weeks was the mitochondria, how huge that is with the ATP and the energy making in your body. But it's the 6 M's. It's methylation, mitochondria, the microbiome, minerals, cellular membranes, and extracellular matrix. So those are areas that we will touch on as we walk with our guests on the journey, and we'll be walking with you a little bit over the air in the coming weeks, touching a little bit on each one of these pillars. So there's so many ways we found, Dave, to go about helping the body getting it into this state of healing. And so and we're always thinking about more ways to how do we get there, because everybody's similar in some ways, but everybody's unique too. So we want to treat you uniquely and then apply some of these basics, and then you throw in some of these modalities that we're offering here. Again, of course, one of them being the hyperbaric we've talked so much about, but we continue to add different things all the time. We've got, as we talked, I think, a week or two ago about the neurofeedback. We've got a special type of neurofeedback device that's going to be absolutely incredible for working on the parasympathetic sympathetic system, and that's the brain. And that's, sometimes we get into the fight or flight stage, which stresses our adrenal glands. And so what we find is all these things are connected, if your mood to your what you're eating, your gut to what you're exposed to. But yes, those are the 6 things: methylation, mitochondria, microbiome, minerals, cellular membranes, and extracellular matrix that Molly and I will touch on those and hopefully get you guys a little bit more understanding of how to get yourself feeling better.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's like when you go out and buy a car, and then you think you got the only one, then you go down the road and everybody's driving the same car you are. You start to notice things. You start to talk about things. I start to notice things that doctors are saying that I'm following, microbiome and things like that, and gut health and all that type of thing. The other day I was thinking about my father, had an amazing life, healthy life, and I thought to myself about, I don't ever recall him popping Pepsids and Nexiums. And, that gut health, I think, probably led him to a pretty good life. And I would like to maybe think about how he lived with that non-processed food, and he wasn't popping Pepsids and Nexiums.
Absolutely. That's a great segue. So I think we'll start with the microbiome.
All right.
And your dad. So yeah. That's great. That's so true.
That is true. All right. Very good, Molly. It's so good. It's always great to talk to you. And Dr. Meyer, how can folks come see you?
Yeah, please give us a call at 712-339-6024. We're at 3305 Berquist Avenue in Spirit Lake, just off Highway 71. And you can, of course, give a call if you're interested in doing a discovery call with me. It's a 15-minute talk about where you're at in your health journey. It's complimentary, and a little bit about how you might plug into what we have to offer here to get you feeling better. So, again, a lot of times folks will just stop on in and we'll give folks a little bit of a tour through the clinic as well. We're a great group of folks that love what we do, and we want to be there to walk with you and help you to make your success story the next Okoboji Wellness success story. So please give us a call.
Very good. Molly, thanks so much. Dr. Meyer, thank you. You two have a great day working with folks, and we'll chat again soon.
Sounds great, Dave.
Thank you.
God bless.
You too.
Thank you. That's Dr. Bradley Meyer and Molly Avery from the Okoboji Wellness Clinic.